Good morning and welcome to the Camnet Breakfast Show. I'm Patrick Soko, and as usual on the program we have lined up a number of activities, so be sure to stay tuned so that we can be together on this day, KK Day. This is a national holiday where we commemorate our founding father, the late Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, who is a legend, who is an icon, and we'll be talking a little bit more about this day, and we'll be discussing. You too can also reflect on how you remember Dr. Kenneth Kaunda. Just now, we are going to go straight into the morning booster so that we can get flexing our muscles. You know, the weather is so cold, and doing that exercise is just as accurate because it goes in tandem. And as I was coming, actually we found more people actually doing some jogging and some workouts. So I think this day is very good, this weather is very good for us to exercise. So Isaac Matsa, give us something in that score.
Good morning. Welcome to our morning boost in Camnet, wherever you're watching us from. If your hubby is in bed, tell them that they need to wake up. We are here to do a workout. And guess what? I have a special friend of mine. She's here to work out with me. Good morning, Chola.
Good morning, Isaac.
Great. Welcome. You ready?
Yep.
We're going to do a warm-up and then a workout. Let's go jam. Let us know where you're watching us from. If you're on Facebook, you're welcome. So we're gonna do this for a minute. How was your night?
Boring.
Is it? You're gonna boost your morning this morning, right?
Oh, yes.
Awesome stuff. Let's go. 4, 3, 2, marching. Let's go, Team Camnet. Let's go, let's go. It's a warm-up for a minute. We'll just do that. Very simple, very basic. Let's go. Keep marching. And 4, 3, 2, step touch. There you go. Let's go. And we'll be beginning our workout soon. 4, 3, 2, knee highs. Stay at it. Let's go. Keep on the knees. What else can we give them? Punches or 2 knees? What do you suggest?
Let's go our legs.
Our legs?
Yep.
Okay. So what do you think? We go back to step touch?
Yes, please.
4, 3, 2, step touch. Go. Hands up. Let's go. I think we can give them hamstrings. What do you think?
Let's go.
Okay. 4, 3, 2, hamstring, go. 1 each. Let's go, Team Camnet. 1 each. Oh, we need to pull some stuff. Let's go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Stay there. 4, 3, 2, marching. That is your cool down now. If you want, you can quickly sip some warm water. And there we go. I think we need to throw some punches.
Let's do this, Camnet.
You know the one we're gonna do?
Okay.
We're gonna do a side punch. We'll be trotting with a punch. You remember that one?
Yes.
4, 3. We'll go with the right one actually. 4, 3, 2. Let's go. This is doable. What do you think?
I'm dying.
Ooh, I don't think so. Let's go. Push. Push. Let's punch into our day. Ooh. 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 Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. The other side. She's sipping some water. Now that's the reality of the workout. Sometimes you are doing the workout and you just have to go and sip some water. So there you go. Let's go. 4, 3, 2, and marching. So now I deliberately brought in my friend so that you see how it goes. Sometimes in the middle of a workout, you feel like you need to stop, drink some water. And that's what she did. Shola, let's go. Water break is over. Woo. Let's go. March, 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 march. And 1, 2, 1, 2. Let's go. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. On the sides. 1, 2. Keep going. Let's go. 1, 2. And 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Let's go. March, 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 march.
Welcome back. There you have it. At least we had that morning workout with Isaac Machisa. We hope you just managed to follow the proceedings there. Sharon, hope you've been exercising.
I've been trying to exercise and keep myself fit. Welcome to Camnet Breakfast. Like Patrick has said, this is a Thursday edition. We bring to you nothing but the very best of interviews insofar as policy and politics is concerned.
We are also talking about an issue pertaining to formalizing Kachaso.
Indeed, very hot topic.
Very hot.
But to some extent, I don't know why. I just agree with it.
But I disagree with it.
Well,
Okay,
that
so
makes us
good.
that makes us two opposite ends seated here.
So we are going, after that, when we zoom in that story, we are going to get your perspective.
Yes.
Then I also put in my perspective.
Even
you people should also put in your perspective so that we get.
Obviously, you are aware that Minister of Local Government and Rural Development Gary Nkombo on Tuesday raided Kachasu Brewers in Osaka's Garden compound, and it was actually a hive of activity.
Exactly.
Prudence and I were there. There was even a bit of tear gassing to disperse the residents who started stoning at the journalists and also the people that were with the minister, because he was in the company of council police and also the actual police. So really, the residents felt threatened. They felt really sad that their only source of livelihood is being disrupted.
Exactly.
So it was quite an activity. And since then, since Tuesday, I think the whole country has gone halabaloo talking about Gary. I think he's made more headlines than anyone else this year.
Yes, he has. You know? Because I think okay, so I think society really sleeps.
Yes.
Because for example, someone dies with anger, Shaz. Everyone else is just quiet. You know. But again, then Gary comes. I think, how can we enhance that so that people, probably leaders, can take poverty alleviation seriously when we try to identify such a situation? Because you see how that the importance. I think even people now reflected on people's human rights, which was good, and which I think I appreciate. But again, that's where we say the media is your friend, much as it is your enemy.
It can build and destroy you.
Yeah, because we just highlight things as they are.
It sets the agenda, and indeed, that story really set the agenda, and the whole country yesterday there were a lot of statements. But you can go right.
Yes.
TIZ says this. The Law Association says this. The what says this.
But again, that's why I'm concerned. That's why I'm saying.
That's
what I'm concerned to say. The whole association. If we and I go to the courts or we go to the prisons, how many people have their rights violated? But the law association is quiet. Everyone else is quiet.
Just because
just because, yeah. But at least now we understand the Kachasu arrangement now. So how do we now work on those issues?
On those things. The truth of the matter, Patrick, is that Kachasu will not. A Kachasu brewing or distillation will not end now. It's an industry that has stood the test of time.
It is.
It has stood the test of time more than our constitution.
There we have it. So we go straight into the health corner with the Medical Women Association. Let's just get to understand what they have prepared for us in terms of informing us when it comes to health matters. Stay tuned to Camnet TV.
Good morning. My name is Mwamba Pombwe, coming from Medical Women Association of Zambia. Today we are going to talk about headaches. So headaches are one of the most common problems worldwide because about 58% of children and adolescents will develop a headache. So there are two types of headaches. There's the primary headache and secondary headache. So primary headaches are not because of an underlying disease. They usually just occur because of the hyperactivity of the sensitive structures in the brain. So I'll just mention a few causes of the few things that can cause a primary headache. So a primary headache can be caused by not drinking enough water, which can lead to dehydration, when you're not having enough sleep, when you're stressed. For those that take alcohol, also red wine, it's also known to cause headaches. Then for children, if you're playing too much games on TV, if you watch too much television, all these things can cause a primary headache. Then there are three types of primary headaches. There's the tension headache, the migraine headache, and the cluster headache. So those are the three types of primary headaches. So I'll talk more about the migraine headache. The migraine headache usually occurs on one side of the head. Then it usually lasts about 3 to 72 hours. And sometimes people with migraine headaches, they can present with auras, what we call auras. So these auras, like just before they have the migraine headache, they'll have some signs, and those signs we call them auras. So the auras can be light flashing, or they can be seeing zigzag, and then sometimes they can have a temporal loss of vision. So those are some of the auras that they can present with. But other people without the auras, they can just have a migraine headache without the auras. Then when it comes to tension headaches usually occurs because of stress or anxiety. Usually the headache will fade when the anxiety or the stress goes away. Then we have the cluster headaches. The cluster headaches usually occurs in older people. Usually it begins at the age of 20 years. So it usually occurs in people who are 20 years and above. It never really occurs in children. And these headaches are usually very severe during the first 5 to 10 minutes when the headache just starts. Then after 5 to 10 minutes, the intensity of the headache will reduce. And it can also last for about 3 to 72 hours. So then on secondary headaches, for the secondary headaches, they are usually due to an underlying condition. And this underlying condition can be infection, such as ear infections, if you've got some cold or flu, if you've got malaria, and also meningitis, meningoencephalitis. So there are a lot of things that can cause a secondary headache. So patients with a migraine headache, they have other symptoms. So for migraine headache, as I said, it's usually on one side of the head. Then the headache is worse when there's too much noise or when there's too much light. the headache is its worse. Then for tension headache, this one usually occurs due to stress or anxiety, and usually the headache would go away when the anxiety and the stress fades. Take off my set. So headaches, I said there are two types of headaches. There's secondary and primary headaches. Today mostly I was talking about primary headaches, which are the three classes of headaches that I said. The tension headache, the migraine headaches, and the cluster headaches. And usually the causes of these headaches are due to not taking enough water, not having enough sleep, alcohol, and watching too much TV, as well as playing too much video games. This is Dr. Mwamba Pumbwe from Medical Women Association of Zambia. Keep watching Camnet TV.
Back Malundu, good morning. Right there where you are, we hope that you were taking note of those symptoms and issues that cause headache in children. You've got two little ones, and obviously you paid attention just to understand exactly when Asha is crying, the type of crying that we mutwe or wichichifine. I'm hoping that you've understood that.
Yeah, that's quite an interesting. Yeah, it's just quite an interesting subject. Sometimes we don't understand why when a child is complaining of having a headache. Sometimes we feel it's a chronic headache. We don't understand this. I think the doctor helped us to understand the primary as well as secondary headaches, and which is very, very important that we get abreast with those issues and the remedies to undertake, especially when a child is complaining of that, even you as an elderly, because Elijah was just complaining about the headache, and I hope he has learned one or two things following that conversation with the Medical Women Association of Zambia, and that is Dr. Mwamba, who was helping us to break down that very important issue. Just now, we just have to understand, how is the Kwacha performing this morning by close of business as of 27th April 2022?
Yes, indeed, the United States dollars was buying at 16 kwacha 86 ngwe and selling at 17 kwacha 20 ngwe. The Great British Pound was at 21 kwacha 20 ngwe and selling at 21 kwacha 62 ngwe. The Euro was buying at 18 kwacha 89 ngwe and selling at 19 kwacha 26 ngwe. While the South African Rand was buying at 1 kwacha 06 ngwe and selling at 1 kwacha 08 ngwe. Those are your money markets. Remember that this segment is up for sponsorship, Patrick.
Yes, you can join in, because this is quite an interesting segment.
It is.
So the banks there, if you have a business there, you can get in touch with our marketing department and just put your products up for advertising, because this is a platform which is widely followed by the people. So when you are advertising in the Camnet Breakfast, you are targeting the right people.
Indeed. When you speak through Camnet, you're speaking directly to the authority, as I always say.
Exactly.
The elephant in the house: should Kachasu brewing be legalized, and how best do you think this can be done? Obviously emanating from this series of activities that have happened from Tuesday this week up until yesterday, and probably today. We will see other people still commenting on this matter, Patrick.
Interesting matters, Sharon, when you talk about it. So I want us, first of all, to actually discuss now. Let me discuss my merit.
His merits and demerits of not agreeing to this core of legalizing Kachasu.
So for me, my perspective is that Kachasu, yes, like you say, has been there time immemorial.
More than our constitution.
Yes, and like you say, it has a reputation more than the constitution, because it has stand the test of time. It has been constant. Always Kachasu.
Yes.
No matter the bruise, Kachasu has been Kachasu. But now there's this other arrangement. Kachasu has actually helped families to earn a living and sustain their livelihoods. That is an unarguable issue. I agree with that. And Kachasu, other graduates today would say, my mother took me to school because of studying Kachasu.
Whether it's true or not,
yes,
that remains subject to debate.
Yes, so those are the merits I'm talking about now. But there is a demerit on the issue of Kachasu. Wow, it has been able to take children to school. Kachasu also is an illicit brew, meaning it has also contributed to societal degeneration of morals and just how society functions in terms of productivity. This is because in compound communities we come from, people would rather spend more time drinking cachaso because it's affordable than working. So you'd find that I have a 10 kwacha. I know that this is a guarantee for me to be drunk the whole day and up to the time I'm going to sleep. So you have a guarantee in cachaso. But if you see, sometimes when you talk about other lagers, people say, I spend a 10 on this lager. It's quite expensive. So that's why by the time I need to take about 10 or 20 for me to get high.
Spend over 100.
Yes. So now that's where the problem comes in, because you have a 10 kwacha, 5 of you get drunk at once. and you see, and you have a 10 kwacha, take the lagers. You are.
It's not even.
Yes, so you say it's like
can't even buy.
They said can't even samutu, just like the doctor was talking about the headaches. It gives me headache. You have heard people saying that. So now, just like we talk about responsible alcohol consumption, Sharon. When we talk about alcohol, responsible alcohol consumption, we mean most of people don't understand this simple language. You can drink, but we are talking about the kind of drinking. That's the problem. So, but you find that in these communities, Sharon, I've been on record telling you were doing the Morini Mukia the other time. I was telling you about Jenkem. I was telling you about which one? Bendeka. All these are kind of kachas whereby when you drink, Sharon, you can hardly stand upright because of the nature of the alcohol. I don't know if it damages
it just cripples
the one side of your brain. I don't know, but those are the effects now, Sharon. You see. Talking about formalizing, like you had indicated in that article with the DP president, formalizing can be done, but when we should be talking formalizing, we should be talking about alcohol consumption in a responsible manner. That's the same thing as smoking, Sharon. Smoking is harmful to health.
Yes.
But smoking, companies are earning a livelihood, or people are earning a livelihood through cigarettes.
Yeah.
But we talk about responsible smoking, and we talk about measures that mitigate, do not initiate more people into smoking. You and I have been talking about tobacco for a long time now. It's the same with cachasu. So we have to talk cachasu while we're looking at that aspect of its effects. So cachasu in totality must be banned. You know how it must be banned? It must be banned, but the formalizing aspect comes into the regulation of the alcohol content.
That's where that's why I'm saying that's why I'm for the idea, because I feel once you open, for example, maybe even government has an institute, because you know what those people lack is the ability to reduce the alcohol content to normal standards, because alcohol has standards, you know that.
Yes.
Has got a percentage.
Yes, and cachasu reaches as far as 100.
Exactly, you know, but they don't have that capacity. So not necessarily that I'm supporting the illegality of it all, but one thing that we need to understand is that the illegality part comes in because they have no knowledge of how to ensure that the alcohol content is reduced to required standards. So what the DP president was calling for yesterday when he visited the area was government should look into this. I think we've had this discussion before, even him talking about it. To say, okay, because the truth is this industry has been there, like I mentioned, it's even supersedes our constitution because we keep wanting to refine it, but we don't refine cachasu. It's been there in almost all parts of the country. People earn livelihoods, much as it is illegal. Yes, we don't support that, but then people are earning a livelihood, and the truth of the matter is that government will not empower those people with whatever they can empower them with and say stop. we are
Yes,
shooting
you are
ourselves
right
in the
on
foot. That is not possible.
You are right on that.
So the best that can be done, probably, it's a suggestion, it's not actually something I'm standing on, is that when they come up with an industry where these people can take their merchandise, the same way Zambia Breweries has done with the issue of itute, you know, cassava.
Cassava, yes.
You know, where farmers grow in this Bemba province, they grow and then they sell. In the same way, these Kachasu brewers brew and then they sell to that particular organization or company. That way, I think it's going to reduce the alcohol intake within the same communities. Because once they are found now, because laws will be put in place, once they are found selling to community members, it will be regarded as an offense. But as it is, Muntuanga, it's open.
You are right.
People are just
And I've just discovered that, in fact, those who are the Indians are actually selling as kachasu.
But because
they have money, they have managed to brand because there is no way. You remember that we had reached this extent of junta. You remember?
Yes, to jiri.
To jiri, yes.
That is kachasu.
They were managing to package it, everything, whatever. But you saw how it damaged our society. So now,
in sachets, like
yes,
it was about 500 kwacha.
Exactly.
Non-rebest, which is 15 ngwe now.
Yes.
So anybody could afford
it.
Until the local authority said, no, this is corrupting our society. But then, you know, while that industry was a little bit put in shambles, and they started producing bigger bottles.
Yes, they have bigger bottles.
And the Kachaso industry has done what? Has stood the test of time.
Exactly.
You know.
So now, I think now we are agreeing on one thing. Now we are agreeing on one thing. So we need to be serious as a country.
Yes.
For me, I take it as a we are not a proactive nation.
No, we are not.
We are a reactive nation. No wonder we fail to address any challenge because, honestly, if you ask me, we have students, we have graduates from the University of Zambia. From various universities we have, private and public in Zambia, but yet when you look at, they do chemistry.
Yes.
You mean they cannot come up with some standards that they can help these Kachaso brewers conform to, as well as be able to follow the right standards, and the council inspectors should be inspecting anyone who is brewing this Kachaso and making sure that it is well packaged, well labeled, because at the end of the day, it's a crime for them to sell to people things that are not labeled. Because we also look at the issue of sanitation, Sharon. If you look at the way that arrangement is done, if you see maggots in this chimela and whatever, you'd be shocked.
It actually pollutes the environment, Patrick. I think Zema would take interest in this as well.
Yes, and even it's common in Mazabuka, where we saw that the underground water was actually contaminated, and people have been drinking these residues which from the same Kachasu, which they have a special name for it. Yeah. So I think just now we zoom in that story. We'll start with the one from the women's movement, Angel CC, and then we get to listen to Mr. Ari Kalaba there. I think we should also have the apology in advance.
Yes. So we play the NGOCC story, Harry Kalaba, and then we also do the apology story where Gary Nkombo actually remorsefully apologized to the family, and later in the day, Patrick, we saw him meeting the family. But one shocking thing is that the facts are not actually tallying, because when we went there yesterday, we were told no. Wamini wana mwensakachaso wamini ashakabia kamwamazi afinda.
This is the story I tell you that the story ya mukachasu.
Exactly.
That's what I mean.
Facts are not really
usually.
You know? And then someone went and wrote a story about it, and then we're like, okay. Prudence was very categorical on this. She was like, no. Now Ishiwa, historically the somewhere, because she saw this, I think, because members of the public, they were probably drunk with kachasu, not to judge them. But they were
drink it. They were clients to
that woman.
Almost 80% of the neighborhood they are drinking a chas, and it's affordable and it's near. Let's play that.
Let's look at those clips, and then thereafter we continue having the conversation. Should Zambia formalize the brewing of cachaça? This is the elephant in the house, obviously. You've been following the happenings for the past 2 days. Let's look at these clips. They say two wrongs don't make a right. The act of forcing a woman and her children to take the illicit distilled alcohol, commonly known as cachaço, has attracted voices from many stakeholders who have described the act as a violation of human rights. The women's movement Wednesday could not hold back but critique the cabinet minister for his actions. Though Mr. Nkombo has publicly apologized, the damage seems to be more than his words. Mary Mulenga spoke on behalf of the women's movement.
The conduct of the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Honorable Gary Nkombo. As a women's movement, we are disappointed with the conduct of the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Honorable Gary Nkombo, in the manner he humiliated and mistreated the woman, cachaço brewer, and her family. We have watched in awe how a senior cabinet minister would humiliate and torture a defenseless woman who had already surrendered and at that moment lost everything. While we do not condone lawlessness, and I underline, we do not condone lawlessness, and the brewing of the illicit cachaço, we find the behavior of the minister to force the woman and her children to drink the brew as total abuse.
Mrs. Mulenga also touched on the mobile money booth operator who has been missing for quite some time, urging the authority to find the victim.
Therefore, deeply concerned with the security situation of our country, especially in the case of Pamela, who is yet to be found 2 weeks on. While appreciating the efforts that the police are putting in place, we appeal to them to expedite the investigations into the missing girl. As the women's movement, we commiserate with the family of Pamela and others who may be in similar circumstances.
Meanwhile, Londazi Member of Parliament Brenda Nyirenda is saddened by this development.
I want to outrightly condemn what the Minister of Local Government did to that poor woman. Worst of all, he went on to ask her to bring her children forth, and they were forced to drink the illicit beer. Worst of all, they even got the girl child, forced the illicit beer on that child. Gary has been a member of parliament for 20 years and more. In his constituency, that is the headquarters of cachaço brewing. Why didn't he first start doing that in Mazabuka?
Sharon Kalimbola, Camnet News, Lusaka. What started as a normal operation day within his mandate, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, has become a hot topic of the day in Zambia. Cachaço brewing is an illegality that has stood the test of time, with no hope of phasing out despite many attempts by the authority to do so. This distillation industry is big and exists in almost all provinces, with the famous being Chivolia compound in Lusaka, Kalea in Mazabuka Southern Province, among other areas. Tuesday, an attempt to stop this illegality in Lusaka's garden compound has resulted in many theories, of which some can be adopted. An opposition Democratic Party President, Harry Kalava, visited garden compound and says government needs to educate cachaço brewers and hopefully formalize the sector.
One of the things that the government should consider seeing how they can work with these same illegal distillers of cachaço and see how they can make them legal. In Uganda, there was a beer called Waraji. Waraji is like cachaço. And the government worked with the people like these ones here to begin making them. They formed cooperatives to begin making some alcohol which was legitimate. Today, Waraji in Uganda, Waraji is sold in ShopRite. Waraji is sold at the various markets, various business outlets. It's because government worked with them. Our government should be proactive. They should begin working with these people, begin making them legal. They will even start getting money from them. Yes. So they need to be taken through stages by stages, because cachaço has been around for a very long time. So we need to see how well we can work within the law to make Kachasu become a product that cannot be frowned upon.
Mr. Kalaba, however, acknowledges that Kachasu brewing is illegal, but notes that the minister's conduct towards that family was brutal.
The minister's conduct was not only, the minister's conduct was not right. I think it was very brutal. I think that kind of behavior was inhuman and very barbaric, to say the least. Such should not be done. Bantu be swava. Mabanga tule batitikisha. Istwala kwisa. Twala kwisa. Abaye bantu utile kuba katika punishment balondolo in a process. Twachipiri okuba. Bantu na bena. Bautiranga baishi lefa kwiro kwikana na bantu. Tawakano ukana iyo. Kufa pensha utile bana sungira mu abantu bawo. So it's important for our government, they should do this thing within the framework of bring everybody on board.
Meanwhile, Kachasu brewing was ongoing as usual 24 hours after the raid. Clearly, it will take a lot to clear this industry.
Vamina chita kulibana masiye kuliwa chani. Jamine tima sungira bana ise. Tima shita kwa office work. Tiripe bili bonse. Demo metima jera ko ise. Kulima kuto kulumani kwa mwana chitia zona. Kulimwana ali hapa stizo kutali kwanji. Hata kutaka mwamanzi basa azezereka. So ampeleka. Ndio na mwana wenyewe kamanzi meka pena nyosha kwa.
Sharon Kalimbola, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Society. And because of that, my engagement with the press today is firstly to tender an apology. To tender an apology to the lady who we tried to contact this morning by way of bringing her to me to speak with her about the trauma that may have been caused by my emotional action of having them to test the illegal Kachasu which they've been growing. And I would like to state that I am very sorry and I seek their forgiveness. I have searched my soul. I've reflected deeply around my action of reducing the said brewer and her children, who are not children, by the way, to taste and drink the harmful traditional alcohol.
There you have it, those stories pertaining to Kachasu brewing. Well, we played them back to back, and I hope you also managed to just get abreast with what transpired as of yesterday, because this was a topical issue. It's still a topical issue, but I think with what has transpired, my perspective on this is that the minister did well to apologize and actually meet the family, because that shows leadership. When something goes wrong, you just have to own up and say, okay, how do we move on going forward and avoid that? Because at the end of the day, the people, you have to lead the people. You cannot govern lions, you have to govern the people. So at the end of the day, those are your masters whom you need to ensure that you respect. They are doing wrong things, rebuke them for the wrong things, but it doesn't mean you also have to wrongly.
Throw them in the fire.
Exactly, you also have to abuse them. So that way, I think he did well to apologize. I think this matter should be addressed as such, because it's different, Sharon, from other people. You know, there were a lot of scenarios that emerged. It said, Gary Bomanism. You get a sense. Do you know why people were saying that?
Yes, because that was Bowman's style of leadership.
When you whipped those people, you understand.
Yes,
when you whipped those people during the COVID-19, it was right to enforce the measures, but you had no right to whip them. But again, you see, I don't think. Do you remember maybe him apologizing?
No, he never did.
So, but there are people who are still traumatized, and they say, "Why was I whipped like that?
Why was I whipped like that?" That much as we didn't see the picture, people, the face, people went further to look for him, to find his family, to just bring him back to social media. So this is the man who was whipped. But you know what that does to people sometimes? People anyway react differently to different situations. So maybe he got traumatized, he got embarrassed, because being embarrassed really is some form of mental disturbance.
Yeah,
you
it
know,
is.
sometimes people overreact and they would be embarrassed for a very long time. Much as me, I don't even remember his face anyway, even if I were to meet him.
Yeah,
I
you're
don't,
right. But there are those people who are particular about
those people who are very particular. You know? Yes.
You get a sense.
Yes.
So, but we just hope that that kind of leadership won't be going back to that. You know, people who are wrong, rebuke them for the wrong things. Don't abuse them. So I hope the minister there did show leadership, Sharon, if you ask me. By apologizing, because with the women's movement, TIZ, everyone was calling on him to apologize. It did just that, and further went to reconcile and engage the family, which is the right thing to do, and we should not take that away from him, because at the end of the day, we are all human. We make mistakes. So he made a mistake, and he just admitted having made that mistake. Which collectively as a country we need to do to ensure that we take this nation forward. Two wrongs do not make a right, and that was a testament of that issue, Sharon.
And we surely hope that other ministers as well, while enforcing the law, they will not go beyond their boundaries by abusing people simply because they want to enforce the law. This is an operation that started very well, but then it was just confused and diluted by the whole scenario of Imwani.
And Sharon, and Sharon, for me, I describe governance as a crown.
Oh yeah?
Yes. Why? Why do I say so? Yesterday, in your report, I think I even heard you saying, it is business as usual.
Yes. It's business as usual. Bale bomba, bale panga kachaso, bale pitilisha.
So what have you enforced?
You know, that's why the other story that was done by Prudence Jota on Tuesday, there was this guy who was saying, "Ba minister mwakwanisa kutaya madrama yato ya chibu ya nyanikanya ya kachaso. Multipase na alternative ways of finding food.
Food, yes.
Because ingati mwataya kachaso majanki bazabwerera mairo bazafuna kachaso yameneyi now wopanga bazapanga. So you have not solved anything. He was quite elaborate and really didn't fear anything. He didn't fear the minister. He just spoke his mind, and the minister gave him an opportunity. So okay, can you say what you were saying once again so that people can pick it up, you know? So, and obviously,
which is where we have another homework to do. Because for me, those women are business-minded. So those are business-minded women. Those are women you target when you are enforcing CDF empowerment programs, because already they know how to make money through business. So you give them an empowerment to say, okay, for you, would want you to do this Kachaso arrangement at a scale, at a legalized perspective, where you also try to conform with the Zambia Bureau of Standards, because ZAB also helps to.
You know, the truth is, those people would not be able to conform to the standard, because what they produce is high alcohol content, and due to the nature of the whole process, you know. So where they would sell that merchandise, that would be the company responsible for regulating. So
you are suggesting we should have a secondary buyer.
Yes.
Like for them, they should just produce the raw kachas.
Yes.
Then you take it to this industry.
The way these people who buy scrap metal.
Yes.
The way Zambia Breweries buys cassava from the farmers. You know, they have a readily market available. The way Food Reserve Agency buys maize and other farm produce, you know, the market is already available. That's the more reason why we have monocropping. We keep growing maize, because the market is readily available. But if we have a company that is available to buy this commodity, it's not a very big area, but you know, there's a lot of activity. So those people, if they were to put all the kachasu together, per week produce this, and that secondary buyer does what it can do to neutralize that. And
Yes.
So
I think, for example, if you identify that if you identify it's that is in Kanyama, isn't it? Garden in Kanyama, so you can identify.
So we have this
one, and in Garden, this is where we have breweries that are organized. This same route, Matero, Kanyama, these are organized. These are industrial areas.
So we have those Kachaso distillers in Garden compound. That was my first time going there, and I was shocked to know that there's such an area. I always thought it's only Chivolia and part of Kanyama, but we have Garden, we have Chivolia, we have Misisi, we have Chawama, we have what do you call this place? Jag, and we have Kamanga here, Charleston area somewhere there.
Even in Chilenge, if you go at that area, you would find that.
Guys, you see why I'm saying this industry has stood the test of time, because it's like they even know how to teach each other to say no. They transfer information,
knowledge, exactly,
to say no, Kachaso Wapanga. So because it's generational, because if it was not generational, I mean, Ngaya Jitako extinct in some areas, but it has continued to be in existence. So you, the viewers out there, what's your say on legalizing Kachaso as well as other? I know someone posted on Facebook to say legalizing Kachaso is as good as legalizing theft, because people earn a living through theft. You say, okay, forming an cooperative.
Yeah, if that's if if you are not helping them to follow the
forming an cooperative,
so it's just like what I was trying to say, Sharon, as well, to say an illegality is an illegality, because, for example, if we just because someone earns money through drugs, and take their children to school through drugs.
No, but there's a level to which an illegality can be formalized. Like in this regard, honestly, we are not talking about theft. We are not talking about theft, and we would never even support that. Even the issue of Kachaso, it's illegal as it stands. Almost everyone who has commented on this, like the women's movement and GOCC, they were categorical to say this is illegal, and we acknowledge it.
Just now, we are going to be taking your calls on the program. In case you just want to join us, you can also send your comments on our Facebook platform so that we can get the conversation going. We get your ideas and what you think about this subject. And just now, we are going to zoom in one more story so that we can zoom in the studio, our guest for today. Just now, we'll go to the story for the Minister of Home Affairs, who was talking about the abduction of Pamela and the progress that has been made. 8 suspects, Sharon, have been nabbed so far, and to help with the investigations, and that 2 phones that of this belonging to Pamela have been recovered. So that's quite some progress there being made by the ministry. By the Ministry of Home Affairs through its department, the police. And just now we listen to that story and the other story on the oath of secrecy. We'll play these stories back to back. On the other side, we'll have Democratic Party President Hari Kalaba to help us discuss various issues pertaining to current affairs. Stay tuned.
Matter comes to rest and perpetrators brought to book. I wish to inform the nation that the police have since recovered 2 dual SIM mobile phones belonging to the victim. Furthermore, police have apprehended 8 suspects to help with the ongoing investigations. The 8 suspects are also linked to other cases which include mobile money scams, theft from motor vehicles, and drug-related crimes. Fearing that other people are now fabricating stories which are not credible. And such stories are not assisting the nation in resolving the alleged matters of kidnappings in this country. Where citizens exercise their rights and freedoms, it is essential for every citizen to enjoy these liberties with responsibility. Lately, social media has been flooded with derogatory statements against the head of state and statements that have potential to generate ethnic agitation. Such personal expressions go beyond the rights and freedoms the state, under the leadership of His Excellency Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, has provided.
Welcome back. You're still watching the Camnet Breakfast Thursday edition. Just now, we're joined on set by Democratic Party President Mr. Harry Kalava, and he'll help us discuss quite a number of issues insofar as the issue that has been happening in the country for the past 2 days, as well as what the DP is about. We've seen him move around, and obviously he will give us an update on what is happening in his party. Mr. Kalava, good morning.
Good morning, Sharon.
Welcome to this interview.
Thank you very much.
You're not new to this set, so smile.
Yeah, you are not.
Smile. Yeah. This is your home.
Yes, I'm home.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, we get our conversation. We'll start it on a different aspect because we had a lot of comments from our news and following your suggestion regarding how Zambia can move forward regarding the issue of Kachasu. So we just want to get your perspective. You talked about formalizing it, Mr. President. How can we better formalize this sector?
First of all, I want to say that the brewing of illicit drinks like Kachasu and several other drinks across this country has been happening since time immemorial. And I think it is time that we began using those drinks to our advantage for government to even grow its tax base. Because right now our tax envelope is very limited. I gave an example yesterday when I was with Sharon. I told her that in Uganda, there is a drink called Waraji. Waraji is a gin. It was just like Kachasu. It was being brewed locally in Kampala, in Jinja, and in all those areas. And then government said we can begin getting revenue from these people who are distilling this illegal brew. So they had to formalize it. And today, Waraji, as we are speaking, it's a drink that you can buy in very established outlets like ShopRite. You can buy Waraji at duty-free shops. Waraji today is even being exported. When there was an expo in China, it was Waraji which was being showcased. Now they've even got flavors of Waraji. You can have coconut Waraji, you have got pineapple Waraji. So even in our country here, I think what is required is to take the example of what Uganda did. You identify those people who are brewing Kachasu and you group them together. Then you give them the methods of how they should do their drinks or how they should brew their alcohol and the percentage to which you want them to brew that drink. Once you formalize it in that way, it means that those ones, the way they did in Uganda is that those guys who were doing those alcoholic beverages became small distillers. They were now, Uganda breweries was going to get from them. So they had a market already. What was illegal was for them to sell directly to their people. So they began selling now to Uganda breweries. In this country also, we can elevate Kachasu. We can elevate Kachasu to a level where Kachasu can be a drink that can be consumed for as long as the certain stages are followed, and we can even begin exporting it as a Zambian gin, because those gins we hear in Malawi, at Malawi gin, that's Kachasu, which has just been formalized. And even in Malawi, actually, growers, they are making gin for the main breweries, and they're supplying to them, and they're buying from them. You create employment in that way. So I think it is important that we begin copying certain good practices. To outrightly just say Kachasu will be gotten rid of is wishful thinking, because it's a battle that we will have to fight hard. Yes, it's an illegal drink. Let's have the opportunity to make it legal and to elevate it, so that any toxic things they're putting in there, they will stop, because it will be legal, and they'll be given processes in which they should be brewing it. So in other words, you'll be creating capacity for them to become small distillers who will be supplying to the main brewery.
Quite an interesting perspective, but I also want to get your view. We can't talk about Kachasu without talking about responsible alcohol consumption, because that has been a problem as well. And among the reasons why people or readers would not want to encourage Kachasu is the aspect of consumption levels, especially amongst the citizens, because it's affordable, and you'd find that more people would spend more time drinking Kachasu other than working. And would you like to lead such a society?
Look, I wouldn't want to lead such a society, because for me, first of all, I don't even indulge in those things. But it's I'm just being realistic and being proactive in the face of what is before us. Sometimes it's good to take a problem and it becomes a stepping stone to finding a solution. Kachasu might be toxic, and that's why I'm saying that it's just important that we see ways in which we can untox it, so that it becomes a product people can consume. You people are talking about Kachasu. There are those sachets which are being sold everywhere in this country.
You are correct.
Those sachets, that's Kachasu. Except those other ones have got a little bit more of money. They're packaging it.
Most of them are foreign owned.
There you go.
Yeah.
They are packaging it in such a way that the drink looks decent. That's what we need to do for our people. This cooperative, this CTF money we're talking about, CTF money, should begin working to establish small distillers for people like those in those compounds who have shown capacity for business. They need to be helped to make progress, so that once those people can make progress, government can begin raising revenue from them. So let's try to encourage them. If it is the packaging which is not right, because if you have I think but those who are coming from outside are putting it in sachets.
Yes.
And you see that those guys who are working on the roads and what, they have got sachets and they keep on sipping from those sachets. That's Kachasu they're drinking.
Yes.
But it has just been elevated to a level where it's now portable. I think we need to reach a level as well that we should think through these things instead of giving market. There's no way Zambia, 58 years after independence, even sachets of those gin drinks should be imported from outside Zambia, or we should allow foreigners to make those. When you've got your own people who are showing interest in distilling your own Zambian gin, I think we need to encourage those who are distilling our Zambian gin and give them the packaging methodologies. The Zambia Bureau of Standards moves in to ensure that the drink is acceptable and they're given standards. Then those who veer off from the standards that will be given, those should be dealt with severely. I intend to do that myself when I become head of state.
Oh, so this conversation, Honorable, has emanated from the operation that was conducted by local government minister, and many theories have emerged since then. Would you be happy with the kind of leadership being offered in this country?
And he apologized. How do you make of his apology? Just your perspective.
There are two questions?
Yes.
What is the first question?
The kind of leadership that we have in the UPND administration.
And the apology.
First of all, Sharon, I want to tell you that I don't want to judge anybody. The people themselves will judge the treatment that they are receiving from their leaders. I think I'm not a standard to begin saying this is below par, that is what. I can only say that the people themselves. But having said that, I think it's also important to acknowledge that I think what we saw from the Minister of Law Government was not right. I keep on seeing these two kind of application of the law. It is you here who are talking about Forest 27, the conditions and that kind of stuff. We would want to see the same energy from the leadership on Forest 27. Because what is good for the goose is good for the gander.
Maybe because that's a low-income area, and the
Those
justice favors the
people don't understand their rights.
Yes, but those can easily be brutalized, and they can get away with it as compared to those guys who are living in Forest 27. Now, it is that. Now, they are also human beings who need to be treated with a lot of respect. And we need, in fact, to hear them more, because that is the work of government. But if we are going to suppress Abalanda because Balanda, and then the rich will continue drinking coffee and we don't hear any story on Forest 27, it gives us worries. It is telling us that probably some of those leaders might have properties in Forest 27, and so they are going careful, as compared to a place like Garden or Kalikiliki or Matero, where they don't have interest. Now, that is a challenge which is there. The apology from the minister is an honorable thing that he did. To err is human. The minister acknowledged his inadequacy. He realized he didn't behave honorably, and he took a step of being honorable by going to apologize. I think where I come from, they say, he that has apologized should not be brutalized and start kicking him all over. I thought he made a mistake. The fact that he apologized, it shows that he made a mistake, and that is why those who are supporting his action earlier on should begin getting level-headed. Because if the minister himself has realized that he made a mistake, and he goes to the public and says, I am sorry for my action, I think I should not have behaved like that. What about those who are saying, no, what you did was right, what you did was right? If some of us did not stand up to the minister, if some of you did not stand up, if the other guys who are running these stories did not bring them out to the public, and congratulations to you, the media. And I must tell you, Sharon, I was watching your news last night. It was well done, and Camnet, you are getting a lot of kudos. You keep it up because it was detailed. There's a lot of depth in your news, and you are carrying the historical perspective of the matter to the present, and so on and so forth. I think that is how it should have been. So he has apologized. Let's give it to him, and we move on as a country.
Okay, let's take a caller. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Bwanji.
Mutu miraputi.
Mutumira kuti ndimwe bandani. Okay, kambani timvere.
Nezifuna kama kufanya problem ya pene ngavale kule kupika bora. Ngaje kupika bora ngatunai atapata kuposita. Ingebarwa ngatunai fulu ya pene ngachana. Lezwa makombo. Najua fulu ya pene ngachana azeni tu. Wakati barunya tukisile kupika ngachana. Naye tunazibalira ko kutwa na kuchokera hapo unakuta. Wale wao pale ni junta ungale moto ungale kato ungale tatu kupa kuna tuko.
Okay.
Sasa kwa kata vipi watoto kokoti tena ni tunayo sitarau na tarehe. Sisi na shida. Tunaweza kutoka shida. Sitare na kacha.
Zikomo.
Mkame kusema nini? Asipata kwa shifu ndani kama hata ndani bado pata udamu. Umpata namba 1. Usifanya na sisi ngapata namba 1 kupia hapo. Usifiki na sisi ngaupa akili yake. Sasa kama utakali kwa udamu. Ilo ndio batele ingawa mupata. Haya ngata. Ilo na mama na sasa problem mara mati kwa basi makapata kwa mtuta ukaya utafikirie tuapate kupata pamoja.
Okay.
Sana hicho kufikire kupika kacha basi leo kuswali hivi basi baada kwa tunamsikia kwa wala kama kwa kukaa na posta tena kwa wakati kukutana na baba wangu kwa kutapata ni kuru wakati kwa kutoa raporo wakati
Okay.
Thank you.
No,
so
thank
much.
you. I think we have gotten your perspective. Well, Sharon, she's just mentioning things we have talked about, and she has a challenge, which is a
most time le won't say chinyanja because I was in a chinyanja uja, but mufuna muzing chizungu Sharon.
No, fe chinyanja.
So because often come and very menti kamba panga.
So bakambani mu chinyanja, stand respond mu chinyanja.
Chinyanja, so that I'm there.
I'm there ku garden. I think my garden.
I think it's on for next member.
Chinyanja.
Chinyanja.
We are challenging you.
Chuma nivutisa chinyanja. But nzaisa.
Yes, and
amvela nimu vamene mukamba nivazoona mulungu amidaliseni chachendi nichi that aba bantu vamene zokamba ni apoyamba aba bantu vamene chifunika chikulu maningi nikuvatandiza vankaenda ma distilling plants ngati vankaenda ma distilling plants uja amene vagulisa kachasu yawo wazambupanga wazapasa ma standards kwa Zambia Bureau of Standards ngati apasa ma standards yopangira moja mowa ni chikuja siku lakwa iyayi chikwa mumvela vambiri vanamba vanasiza maskulu yawo chifukwa chawo wamenewo jamova but ija behavior yoenda monga sima Zambians wachita bwanji na bwanji ija si behavior ya mushe and tachita condemn Stephen vija mwana mziko. I think it's important to muntu nukamba naye elo amene kachasa amene tikambapo asimu garden mweka amene apanga kachaso waipanga all over Zambia waipanga kachaso bazivalelwa ati kachaso iligo kachaso vantu vamapanga kachaso every day they are making kachaso. So what the government afunga kuchita vakalibe kutila ija kachaso making sure that vaja vantu avachita empower. That's why nzokamba ina CDF jamene vatenga CDF baja amene apanga makachaso baja ndiye vantu votandiza so that ngati vafuna chakuli kachaso pasa ma business yenango but vakalibe kuchita hivyo va government vambiorganiza pa kupanga kachaso inkale legal drink. In that way is just to create an enabling environment. Abuna zamba kulisa kachasu yao na watu zamba kumwa kachasu chwa ma Chinese mbavo meresa akulisa ma sachets, ma Lebanese mbavo meresa akulisa ma sachets, ma mwenye mbavo meresa akulisa ma sachets. Manje Mzambia na akulisa direct at TI ati chwa mila mbuzi kuluma garu ili mbuza toona ni maloza.
The opposite actually.
Chomina garu kuluma mbuzi.
Yes, not mbuzi kuluma
garu ati mawana maloza.
Yes, indeed. You are watching the Camnet Breakfast, and on set we have Democratic Party President, and you can call in and pass on those contributions.
We take that call.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
My name is Wanya, calling from Kafue.
Please go ahead with your contribution.
Yes. Honorable, how are you?
It is well with my soul.
Okay, thank you. So my contribution is about the statement. If you look at the place called Kalea in Mazambuka. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
The place called Kalea Mazambuka. That's the largest living area for the same Kashasu. And it has been going there for so many years, that industry there. As we are in transport business, we drive buses. We pick people that come and order Kachasu from there, take it to Zimbabwe, some of them to neighboring countries, Botswana there. Mr. the Honorable Minister who went to Ghana there is aware. He's been standing there for years and years. He knows that industry has been there for years and years. But why get that from where? That business has been there. Yesterday I was there, even some people were surprised that once I'm waiting for him, he's always here. He's always passing through there. But he hasn't gone there to go and stop that industry which is there. In Mazambuka there are no industries. That's the industries which is there. Apart from Zambia sugar there, that plant which is there, the other plant which is there, they're making Kachasu there. Kachasu is brewed there. When you're passing there, going to Monze, coming out from Mazambuka, you even see the smoke of Kachasu. That's a big industry in that area. Then they even came to a neighboring country, saying Kachasu. They are transporting Kachasu, and I'm saying right now. But for surprise, just went to the small industry garden there. Let him go there and stop his industry where he is, where he was elected there. Then we'll see that down there will Baba Gandhi. Not what is it known. There's a big industry there. Right now, we can even send people. We can just go and go along the tracks there. Mukoswana there, Zimbabwe there. Korea is there. That
All
was
right.
my contribution.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
very much for that contribution, Wadia from Kafiwe. Kafiwe is listening. And your take, Mr. President, on that?
I think he has a valid point. And again, it just cements the point that I'm making, that why don't you just legalize Kachaso, give them the standards with which they should be brewing it, and we can even start exporting it now formally as a country to our neighboring countries, and we are going to begin earning revenue from Kachaso, because right now, because they're calling it illegal, the money they're making, they're not paying taxes on it.
Yes.
But for as long as you legalize it, it means you begin raising revenue from industries like that. So, I mean, the UPND should be listening very carefully when we are speaking, because they have not attempted to create any industry in the last 8 months that they have been in power. And therefore, things like this which are already there. And I thank Gary to some extent that he has opened the eyes of even the leadership, because then they are going to use the same Kachasu now. They can begin using the same Kachasu as a stepping stone to see how they can legalize it and give them funding from the CDF and so on and so forth.
Wow, we have a lot of people wanting to talk to you, Mr. President. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hello.
Good
Hello,
morning,
good
we can
morning.
hear you.
Good morning.
Yes, your name and where are you calling us from?
Good morning, how are you?
Hello.
We can hear you.
Yes, I can get you.
Yes, your name and where you are calling us from.
This is where I'm calling from, Flora.
Please go ahead with your contribution.
Yeah, good morning, President.
Good morning.
Good
thanks.
morning.
And good morning, Mr. President.
Good morning once again.
Thank you. Just wanted to comment on the film, Kachasu. We know, all of us in Zambia know that this is journalistic.
Yes.
And we didn't approach bless that family so that the people went there, find them doing that is discipline. But the only thing that I can say is it was a blessing for the leader to go there and find an alternative, not to what he did. Yet his man, he made a mistake. But think as a project, he's supposed to go there, find an alternative to them. Sit down with the last family, then what they take to a custom in that. That's my contribution.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you so much for your contribution.
Turning to other matters, Mr. Kalaba, I want to also get your perspective. If you are invited on the table, are you willing to help government find solutions to some of these challenges pertaining, for instance, beyond the issue of Kachaso? Are you willing to sit on the table?
Look, for us, first of all, today is Kaunda Day.
Yes,
Exactly.
indeed.
And happy Kaunda Day. colleagues.
Happy to Kaunda Day.
We will
indeed.
definitely get into that. You will actually give us your fond memories, but
you
later
know,
on.
I mean, for us, I think we have always talked industrialization, and we are going to make sure that we industrialize this country to its full potential. And we start with what is already existing. Today in this country, 58 years after independence, you are growing soybeans, and yet Tanzanians are the ones who are importing your soybeans, and they're making soya chunks. I'll stop that. We'll stop that when we form government. We will want to begin making soya chunks in this country, and it will be cheaper for us. So the same Kachasu we're talking about, if individuals are exporting Kachasu using Zalewa routes to Botswana, to Namibia, to wherever, and government is not getting revenue, that's the point of departure. We need to begin legalizing that market and giving them licenses to begin operating in a conducive environment where inspectors will go and inspect that the brew is because if yes, that's the argument. Yes. And the manner in which they brew is the but whiskey because now by parking up, you know, and then I stand to anything, you know. I think that's not the point. The point is, now I never for any. Mubulanda wabo. Ida ine whiskey mleno mfabo no imu wakankalanga mleno. Na bena at their level. Fia palako whiskey. Gini ja ina bena balenwa. For as long as it is not harmful to their bodies. And that's what today I looked at. When you legalize it, Gamaipanga in a manner where it was to other people. Not my kitchen part of Gambo, no Basharo. Galai cooking. That's how it happens.
We have another caller. Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Mabukashan.
Mla tumina pisa. Mwatuwa question anoko mle tumina first.
Ishin anoko mle tumina.
Simon Chama, tumina kuatasha mpike.
Okay.
Mena nkana.
Okay, kuti
mitende mwe bena nkana mulishani mwe. Ndiye mipera namba yandinga bansuminisha basharo na bapene patini foda tufisa.
Namba yenu shapa tabu kofi abantu nombero ndesha ni kwa tulate tena ya ngapi akiyaga.
Yonde mipera.
Mpera baka. Ukuta kwa kuja shaka chafu. Ita chike kuliwa gari kutoka tawe ne wetu minister mkuu wa bila kwa bala wanao mchinshi wao wala wanaika kwa wiki atikura charu minister eba hapo kwenda mama kombo vakanso bali kwi ingala bonshi bali kwi abafuyo kubomba so iye milimo bambo kutaba gari kombo yena dala bana kumungu nao sala ubona umuchinshi wao babuja babo obo batati wino balande na abantu ego babele ya bado bayakuda ifyo songa wala bakati wala ya kuikula ndio charo chala kwa sababu right na mumona ama salo oyo chikwete na kumfo kuipaya kwamba nombo kulanina efekti kukawalala na wambo kulanina umulandi wakubulisha amachito so na waba makachaso ngatabala sandirishe wino ubukuku n'obulalelale na bindi byalafurirako so kirekali waba kitase daiti bino bwino ebyo baba kitaka bawa bino bwino nokwebo kutila nomba ako twabikitani bawa nga twamisanga mulekiteefi ntwenyeke zibekyanisa benyabantu bakappreciate bakalaba napamoja namba yetu.
No, we cannot allow that because of the limitations. So what we'll do is that send us a message on
your phone
on the number you've used to call us. So immediately then
atumepe number. Like just send a text message.
Your number is 0977 79 4129 0977 79 4129. If in emulage that mlenga na balanda bale bachusha.
So
mlenga abantu bale bachusha. Nafa no bachusha bale bachusha.
Yeah, so even as we have just limitations according to the IBA guidelines. So we have to also conform to those. They are just abrogating the law, but you know when sometimes people want to target you, they can use it as an excuse to say you have abrogated something.
We are protecting ourselves. We are protecting ourselves.
Interesting.
But anyways, we are having a conversation with the Democratic Party. You too can take part in this conversation by sending us those text messages as well as calling in and speak to the president. Now, we've spoken, I think, quite a number of issues on the other part. Let's move in the direction of Democratic Party. You have so many plans for this country, and people are shocked that you've already swung into action, talking to people, you're on the ground, but elections are very far. Why are you doing that?
Look, We came out number 3 in the last elections. We have to consolidate that. We have to consolidate that so that our people can now know us. Tuli mu compound, tuleya muisa, tulefa abantu besu batuishiwe. Abantu lefa kumona hari kalaba. So nakunka na kwende kudya ndeya. Tulena kumaza bwa kwenye wale pangama kachaso go tuleya. Tulefa we want to go everywhere in this country. So Zambians can know ukutila there is also an alternative. It's people because balando kutila mako we yakufisa. Tashitwa. So if we are going to keep quiet ourselves and just stay, the people will not know that there's a product called Hari Kalaba on the table. So that's why, Sharon, you have seen us in full swing, in full action, going out there. Our colleagues, our media director, Alex, busy. My spokesperson, Manawina, was here on your program the other day. Precious in Tambu. So everybody now is moving in swing in action so that we can be where we are. And we are laying the groundwork in Southern Province. That's where we are now. In Western Province as well as Northwestern. We want to lay the FM foundation before we move to these other provinces. But
your political party, Mr. Kalaba, is being fought in terms of the presidency. But how, if this continues, don't you think it may affect you, or do you have plans so that you do not miss out, for instance, come 2026, because you are involved in these issues?
Monen, abantu abalefuaya, abantu basalapate, abantu basalo muntu. It is the person Hari Kalaba. Today, if I chose to stand on another political party, for instance, it's Hari Kalaba they'll follow. And missing out, how can you miss out? How can I miss out in 2026? Unless Nishin decapitated or not be around, because the Lord will have taken me to himself in glory. But if the Lord will give me the chance to still be there, I can tell you his face is on the ballot paper. And we want to galvanize our support. So don't even worry. It is Hari Kalaba the product. Ni Kalaba Hari the product. Forget about trivialities.
Let's speak about that. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
I'm calling from Indora. My name is Marshall.
Mr. Marshall, please go ahead with your contribution.
Yes, yes. I don't think this.
That's good.
All right. No, you're not a smart baby though. Okay, so you are well known as somebody that speaks against corruption, and since time immemorial, since your resignation from the Patriotic Front, that was the basis to say you do not support whatever is happening there. The president had a press conference on Monday, and he spoke of punitive measures for the people that are allegedly involving themselves in corruption. Is this just mere lip service, or are we seeing progress insofar as fighting corruption is concerned in this administration?
My president, the fight against corruption, my president Nawafilwa, the UPND government has completely failed in the fight against corruption.
Why do you say so?
Yes, I say that because Walanda teach kwanka, wachimwana kumampalani. Look, I will pona kwanka ni munshi achimuti.
Meaning?
It means that someone who is handling you properly, you see from the actions, because actions speak louder than words. Just to a few instances where the president has had an opportunity to exercise authority and we see that he's fighting corruption, he has failed terribly. But President he's failing to really put his finger to the fight against corruption. Completely failed, because the way he answered the issue of the foreign affairs minister and his dealings with Sonoma Cement, I think he said, I called him and he said he didn't get anything to the calendar, so I stopped at that. And I hope the president will maintain the same standard with other ministers of just calling them, because who will agree Who will agree, my brother?
No one.
That Nadi sender.
No one.
Who will agree? No one will agree. Nobody will agree. So for him to say that's the way he's going to fight corruption, fiapsana shani with the way the previous Valungu walishta handle corruption in fact, for Valungu, we should even say he tried, because he allowed his ministers to be investigated by the Anti-Corruption Commission. He allowed his ministers to be arrested by the DEC and that kind of thing, and then they were acquitted in the courts of law. But President was very protective of his colleagues. Very protective. And that's not the way you fight corruption.
But he said those who do that are on their own.
What does he mean their own? So it means Kakuba was not on his own.
That they won't have his blessings.
Yeah. And that's the problem we have. The president thinks unless we're more involved in Muchintu, that's when it is going to be legitimized. No. Ministers can make decisions without the president being aware. And that's why he has given the ministries. It is to run ministries without his involvement. When the president sees that the minister has made a mistake, it is for him to correct them or fire them or anything. I mean, within the law, he's got that power. But for him to say, you are on your own. And you should have asked him, Sharon. You were there.
I wasn't, unfortunately.
He was there. Were you there yourself?
No, Prudence.
Yeah, but Prudence was there and should have been asking these questions. Should have asked, what do you mean you are on your own? What do you mean you are on your own? So does it mean everybody... for instance, my brother Gary Nkombo yesterday was the other day was in Garden. If the president doesn't take action, it means what he did at the blessing of President Hakainde Hichilema. It's that kind of mixing of issues that is bringing doubts on what he's talking about. He's not being clear to the people of Zambia. I think the president must be clear. He was talking loud about the fight against corruption. He has come out zero. He was saying we are being methodical. If you calling Kakuvo to ask him Ndama is being methodical,
what's your stance as a Democratic Party insofar as fighting corruption is concerned?
The fight against corruption must be taken on without looking at where one belongs, regardless of the party affiliation. It must move. That is why that statutory instrument of moving the Anti-Corruption Commission under the President's office should be revisited. It is not a good thing that the President should have the ACC under his office. The ACC must be seen to be autonomous. It's a quasi-government institution, but must be seen to be autonomous so that its actions are not subjected to public ridicule. The moment you allow the ACC to be under the President, it means you are politicizing. The DEC under his office, it means you are politicizing the fight against corruption. And once the fight against corruption is politicized, you take away from yourself. He should have allowed them to go, give them capacity so that they can act as watchdogs on his behalf and his government, and then he would have had better results. But putting them under his office, everything that will be doing, they'll be saying it's persecution. That's why he brought it under his office. Even criminals who should be in today, they will say it's persecution. Why? Because he has made a mistake of bringing a body like the SEC, the DEC, under his office. Those bodies should have been left where they are, fund them adequately, and give them the political will to run.
We can't do this conversation without talking about the elephant in the room, being the issue of the high cost of living, Mr. President. For a family of 9.
The elephant in the room was a DPP.
We will go there and we wind up.
Then the other one has to be the lion.
The other one has to be the lion.
One is
yeah, so but we talk about the high cost of living because much as the DPP is a topical issue, each and every Zambian has been affected by the high cost of living, considering that the price of fuel has been escalating, and we may be going to another review, which we may even saw a rise or a decline next month. I think before the end of this month, which is next. Yes. Yeah. So we just want to get your perspective regarding how best this issue can be tackled, considering that most Zambians are not affording, because for a family of 9, according to JCTR, you need to have at least 9,000
family of 5
per month to spend.
I mean, yes. We have said and talked about this issue time without number. We have said what is required by government, what was required by government was to subsidize the fuel. Government refused. And yet government was very quick, if you remember, Sharon, and Government was very quick. Just within 3 weeks or 1 month of their existence, they gave subsidies to the mines. They gave them those tax holidays for 5 years. Why did government choose to tax the mines without understanding the productivity levels of the mines? What due diligence did they do? Miners, those owners of those mines, those are foreigners. Not foreigners, buddy. But the president was happy to give foreigners tax holidays, but he is not willing to give Zambians tax holidays or tax breaks using the energy sector. Today, I'm talking about the cost of living. It's because of fuel. Fuel, yarafikana 36 kwacha. Yarafikana 40 kwacha. And yet, abantu nomba barafika nokola kumaya kufirilo tabakola end of makuchipata, of makukito na kundola, from Ndola going to Lusaka or going to Kasama. They will not be traveling, because how would they travel from Mongo to Lusaka with high cost of fuel like this? They will not manage. And all this is gravitating around the energy sector. Government must be quick to think progressively like other countries are doing. We have heard our colleagues in Rwanda are benefiting. We have heard our colleagues from Kenya are benefiting. But why can't our government? Why is our government so interested in foreigners as compared to kubantu baba basajili? They would rather abantu baba basajili bale chula, but them foreigners bale nwa tina na bread. I think it is not right. Government must rethink the issue of subsidy, because without it, there will be a problem. Secondly, is this issue of Indeni. The second thing that they did after giving Yama tax holders to those friends of theirs, my foreigners, was the issue of closing Indeni. When we argued from the party perspective, they told us, no, Indeni has only gone on care and maintenance. It is 8 months. Indeni is still on care and maintenance. And the Minister of Finance contradicted that statement by the Minister of Energy, Mr. Kapala, by saying, Indeni, we cannot put in more money in Indeni, because government doesn't have that money. We are going to put money in other sectors. Number, a country without bulk reserves. Country isha kwata kubenga sungira mafuta. Hand to mouth, every time hand to mouth. This is why in the history of this country, we are seeing that now we have reached a situation where the Energy Regulation Board is reviewing the pump price every month. What type of thing is that? That Indian had the capacity to keep our fuel, our diesel, our crude, for 3 months at least. So once much then you can see how you can manage the world and the prices of oil around. And they're telling us stories that no, we have increased because of the Ukraine war, and goofy, it's a lie. Because if it is because of Ukraine why they increased, the first time when they increased, was there a war in Ukraine?
No.
The second time when they increased, was there a war in Ukraine?
No.
It was the third time. Yes. It was the third time when Ukraine watched Fuala. No, it's because there is war in Ukraine. That's why we are increasing the price of fuel. And Zambia doesn't buy its oil from Ukraine. When did we start buying oil from Ukraine? Most of the oil we are buying is coming from Saudi Arabia. But the argument has been the international market operates in a unison, that the prices are set at international. Even as you are operating, oil, the procurement of oil is not done in the manner that you buy tomatoes on the market. Just like when you are selling your copper. Copper is sold in advance. Kustisha for the 1 year was sharing more tonnage. Even oil is done like that. So when there are shocks in the world order, how are you going to be affected by the shocks? How will you be affected? You want to be affected. You won't be. So it is things like this that Walanda Pata want to job on training.
So what exactly is happening? What exactly is happening? Are we not buying in advance?
No, we are not, because we don't have Indian value, Sala. And we were proposing ourselves that it's better you have a strategic bulk reserve institution like Indian in place, because all that government needed to do on Indian was to buy the hydrocarbon cracker to make Indian or qualify Indian, elevate Indian from being a separator to a refinery. Once you have a refinery, then you can be buying now your crude and you stock it and then you refine it. Makata petrol, makata paraffin, as in Vaseline, you can even have a big industry there. But that is not happening. And now government is proposing putting up a pipeline from here into Dar es Salaam, a pipeline, so they can be pumping crude directly into, petrol and diesel directly into Zambia. You know, it is 1,700 kilometers from here to where they're talking about. Hello, tell me, does this government have the capacity to put security men and women all over that line to secure the diesel and the petrol? They don't have. Abantu bakala FNF masembe nama access nama pipes padia bakambo tulaula bamba lokuvula ama diesel nama petrol balevula, and by then or wherever they'll be taking that they will be getting nothing because so some of these things I think they have to rethink before they even start talking about them. We need to have a strategic bulk reserve as a country. We are blessed. We have got the DRC near us with almost 100 million people. We are blessed. We've got 8 neighbors surrounding us as a country. We should use the advantage of our geographical position to perpetuate our own interests. Because if we're not to Zambia can even start Botswana, DRC, but we can't, because the biggest problem we have in this country, one is leadership. The second problem that we have in this country, again, is leadership. And the third, Sharon, is leadership. So once you fix those things, we are on the right course.
You will talk about, let's talk about now what you refer to as the elephant.
That's the lion in the room.
Yes. So the issue of the DPP, Milingolungu issue, how was it handled? Just your perspective on that, and how can we move forward
just to
from
add
that?
Could it be the reason you mentioned earlier to say DEC under the president? Yeah. Could it be the reason that it is showing to have more powers than the DPP?
Yes, thank you, Sharon. Very smart. You know, it is this same problem of getting the DEC. So you have Madam Mary Chirwa. I mean, I have a lot of respect for Madam Mary Chirwa myself, but I think she should tame our overzealousness. Because she understands more than we should all of us understand that the DEC will not take you to court. I mean, will not prosecute you. They will arrest you, but the one who will take you to court is supposed to be the DPP, because she's the one who prosecutes all matters on behalf of government. Now, if she can say I've got the powers, it's just telling you that she's being influenced, like we just suppose she's being influenced politically. And one good thing which has happened is that DPP has written a letter to the president. And I hope the president is watching me here. Mr. President, give Madam Lilian Siuni, give her, lift her oath of secrecy so that she can also tell her story. Takwaba, I've never heard where you can brutalize a person in the manner he did at his press briefing. You know, that's how these politicians have been destroying careers of professionals. Because someone who wants to be a professional, they are going to take politics there, drag her in the mud, knowing that she will not respond. And she's a courageous woman. She has said, give me the benefit of doubt, let me also respond, and let me be heard as well. Takuwa bafili abalanda, where I come from, they say, kubango omusha, ukufano otwebo mukanwa. That's what they want to do with Lilian Zion. They want her to die with words in her mouth. She should not speak. Now, I think the president, here is an opportunity that you have been given. Remove the oath of secrecy from Madam Siuni. Once you remove the oath of secrecy, then the nation will know. Because right now she's under that oath. She cannot say some things. All the things that they were saying, no, she did this, she did that, she cannot say. But once the oath of secrecy is removed, as she has requested, then the nation will know the truth. You can't go in a boxing match. It's a fair match. It's not that fair. So allow her to also speak. You spoke, we heard all your stories there at your press briefing, because those were stories he was just talking. At first he says, no, I have never met that person. No, I only met him when he came to brief me at the community house. And, you know, he was just vacillating around. And I think the president should also know that we are intelligent. We think through these matters. We know these issues. And I think the office of DPP should not be politicized. It should not be ridiculed in the manner that he did. This is the same thing which happened in MPF when they kicked out Mtembonchito, using flimsy reasons around the office of the DPP. And you know, you weaken an office like that, we are in problems. So on this matter, I'm appealing to Zambians. Please, we heard the president. It's only right that we should also hear the DPP. Where I come from, Sharon, they say, ukumfuikisha kusuma, bantu mukapele nsambu imikuibiri. You might have given the president, or the president is telling the truth. But when you also hear from the DPP, when the oath of secrecy will be removed, you also hear the truth. So let's be careful in making conclusions, because the president was trying to secure himself there. But the DPP has got courage. She has said, I also want to speak. Give me this leverage to speak. And I think you people in the media should even be more critical of us leaders. I think take interest in ensuring that we don't take advantage of you by just telling you our own stories, but balance the story. Hear from both sides.
Your concluding remarks.
Well, it is good to have been here, and it's Happy Kenneth Kaunda Day. Dr. Kaunda has put us on a platform that we can only say thank you, Your Excellency, for what you have done to us posthumously. I think we are better off as a country because of Dr. Kaunda. The man had class. The man had, he had, what can I say, integrity. He was fearless. And most African countries in our region have been liberated as a result of the stance that he took. And we as Zambians have paid the price heavily. So thank you for having me. And it was good being here, Sharon. And what's the name again?
Patrick.
Patrick. How can I forget Patrick?
All right. Thank you so much for being with us this far. We take a short break. When we return, we continue with the breakfast show as we help our president zoom out.
Oh, we testify, we celebrate.
Hello, I'm Deborah Lukalu, all the way from South Africa. You are watching Camnet channel, not just another channel. God bless you. Stay tuned.
We testify, we celebrate. For all you've done, Lord, we give you all the praise. Oh, we testify, we celebrate. Lord, we give you all the praise.
Camnet TV is becoming big and better. You can now watch Camnet TV wherever you are around the world, simply by downloading the Camnet TV app. With Camnet TV app, you only use less bundles. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
There you have it, the Camnet Breakfast Thursday edition, governance and policy, politics as well, with me, Patrick Soko, and Sharon Karimbola. We've been talking formalizing Kachaso, and our guest was the Democratic Party President, Mr. Hari Kalaba, who helped us digest this issue. Various calls did come through, and we are glad that you could find time to be a part of the conversation. We are happy that the Copper Belt is listening, Southern Provinces is listening. These are among areas that we are more frequently calling on the program. We are glad that you would find time to be to follow the proceedings of the program. We had quite a number of interesting stories. We zoomed in the apology from the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Garin Kombo, as well as the stories that were trending regarding the same issue. The Minister of Home Affairs as well on the issue of Pamela, on the abduction. We also had Camnet Health, where the Medical Women Association of Zambia continues to help us understand various issues, Sharon.
Indeed, Patrick, quite an elaborate show and very informative. We are grateful, and we hope that you are remembering our founding father, the late President KK, in good faith. And yesterday, Patrick, the NGOCC Women's Movement actually started their press briefing talking about the unity that was exhibited by the late president, to say we should emulate him as a country. We should ensure that we are united and never ever divide ourselves. And that's the more reason why we are still continuing the conversation even as the show is done. You can send us those fond memories you have of the former president. Today is his day. Send us those messages on our Facebook page. Obviously, we'll put up something to just remind ourselves as who we are as a people of Zambia.
Remember, as we say, Camnet TV is not just another channel. Keep it Camnet. Stay tuned.
Thank you for watching.